All right, we are going to talk really quickly, not really quickly, pretty quickly, about the concept of focus. Entrepreneur, you have a problem. That problem is focus. I have that problem too. Hi, I'm Joseph, and I have a focus problem. I get distracted and pulled in so many different directions because I have so many good ideas that I know in my heart of hearts can help people. And so I get distracted and have in the past, and still do, I struggle with it, and get distracted and start to build something new for a new audience. But if you're really going to reach somebody, you have to focus on a group of people, a niche, a product or service, and really double down on it, because it takes a while to get your message out there, and it takes a while for people to hear that you're the person they should be listening to really understand. I mean, if what you're doing is unique and new, which I'm sure it is, then they have to understand it. And so it takes them a while to understand it, to fit it into their view of the world, because most of the time we're asking people to change their view of the world somehow. So they have to contextualize what you're saying into their worldview. Does it fit? Does it make sense for me? But they have to hear about you first, right? There's a whole section on they have to hear about you first. And if you get distracted and focus on more things than just one thing at a time, then you lose it, right? What's the old saying? The hunter that chases two rabbits catches none, right? Goes hungry. Because you can't chase two rabbits. You can only chase one. So let's figure out some focus concepts and get things done. I'm going to blow away some myths first. Here's an exercise for you. This is what I want you to do. Now I'm going to write on this screen here. Right? I can write on this screen. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to write on this screen. Oops. Didn't want to go there. I wanted to go here. I'm going to write on the screen here. With the pen. And I want you to get a piece of paper. And in a minute, I'm going to have you pause this video. I want you to draw this on two pieces of paper. All right, that little table, and it should be, this is the top of the piece of paper, and it should look like that, like the piece of paper, and this goes all the way down. And in this column, I want you to put a capital letter A. And in this column, I want you to put the normal, just the number 1. And in this column, I want you to put a lowercase a. And in this column, I want you to put a Roman numeral 1. All right? So what you're going to do in a minute is fill it out this way. Please hear me when I say this. I've done this exercise for literally thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people. And it frequently gets mistaken. It's at least somebody in the group. So I want you to fill it out horizontally. This is horizontal. So you are going to fill out A1, A1, B2, B2, right? All the way down to the letter J, because my name's Joseph. I'm going to have you stop at J. So do that. Get a timer, right? And time yourself and see how long it takes. Write that number down over here somewhere, minute and 30. And then turn the video back on, all right? Do you hear me? So turn it off right now. Turn it off right now. And do the exercise. I'll be right here. Okay, are you back? Did you do it? Did you write your time down? Something like a minute and 30 or something like that to get all this done. Okay, so then what I want you to do is, now I want you to erase it. Not erase it, but get another piece of paper out and do the same thing. You're going to do the columns. You're going to do an A, 1, a B, and a Roman numeral 1. And this time, I'm going to have you get your clock out again, and I'm going to have you time yourself. But this time, you're going to do them vertically. So you'll go A, B, C, D, all the way down to J. 1, 2, 3, all the way down to whatever that number is. A, B, C, D, lowercase. And then 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Okay? Does that make sense? I want you to record your time over here and turn the video back on when you're done. All right? Are you ready? Stop it. Go do the exercise. Really. It's fun. It'll prove a point. It has to be done before you move to the next slide. Okay, if you're back, you must have stopped, done the exercise, and found out. What did you find? Yes, you found out. You found out. All right, I'm going to clear this so that it's clean. You found out that it took you twice as long to do it the first time than it did the second time. Or you could say it took you half as much time to do it the second time as it did the first. That is consistent over the literally tens of thousands of people who I've done this class with, done this exercise with in classes. Everyone. It takes twice as long to do it when you're switching from capitals to numbers to lowercase to Roman. Capitals to numbers to lowercase to Roman. Capitals to numbers to lowercase. It takes you twice as long. And the reason for that is something called task switching time. So the next thing I want you to do is go to YouTube and find, or actually he stores his stuff on Vimeo. So you'll go to the internet and Google for Dr. John Medina. Dr. John Medina. And he wrote the book called The Brain Rules. If you haven't read it, you should. And find the video that has this. This looks like the front page of it, right? This is the video. It's called Attention Rule Number 4. We don't pay attention to boring things. That's the title of it. We don't pay attention to boring things. Rule number 4. So he has this book called The Brain Rules, and it has all these different rules that your brain operates under. And in this, he talks about how the brain works. So go listen to that and then come back to this video. I know I'm asking you to do a bunch of things, turning this video off and going away and coming back, but do it. It's definitely worthwhile. John is amazing, and he has this really funny voice. He talks like this. It's kind of a funny, and he goes up and down, and you'll want to listen to it because he's got a very funny voice. So go listen to John. All right, I'll be here when you get back. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for going and listening to Dr. Medina. Brilliant man, brain scientist out of the University of Washington, and you learned in there that, guess what? It takes twice as long to do things and you when you're trying to multitask, and you make twice as many mistakes. What? Yes, so you're making mistakes. Yeah, sorry about the depressing end of that video, but you make more mistakes and it takes you longer. So why in the hell would you do it? Why would you multitask? But we do it all the time, especially as entrepreneurs. We always try and multitask. So let me give you some more fodder for this problem to beat you up about it so that you will stop trying to multitask. For every additional project that you do, so you've got great ideas. Awesome. Focus on one of them at a time. So you have an idea to build a new service offering and to create an online course for your customers. Cool. Pick one and focus on it. Because if you don't, you're wasting time. You're wasting a ton of time. Maybe you have like 3 different things. I'm going to build funnels and drive traffic. I'm going to create a newsletter, and I'm going to build a course. Actually, I'm going to build 2 different courses. I'm going to build this course on this and a course on that. I'm talking to myself. I have done this. I still do it. I catch myself and step back. So the multitasking can come in the form of multiple projects, like I was just talking about. It can come from working from home. I work from home. If the room I'm in is a mess, it's difficult for me to concentrate because I'm always seeing those things and going, damn, I got to put that away. Oh, that reminds me of this project. Oh, I need to sell that coffee table. Oh, I'm literally looking around the room saying these things. The base needs to be put away. Oh no, the coffee table needs to be cleared off. They just keep bugging you. So work in a room that's clean. It's better for your brain. Even if you think I'm okay with a messy room, you're not. Your brain functions better when things are clean. There's less that it has to hold in its head. So working from home too. When people come home, they disrupt you. So you need to find a place where you can work that you're not disrupted. And don't say, oh, it's okay. The fact is, it's a fact. This is not my opinion. It's a fact. When someone walks through that front door and says, hey, honey, I'm home, you break focus. And just that breaking of focus, I mean, you're like, I'm figuring out this complex problem and algorithm and this slide deck I'm working on and this figuring out this website configuration thing that I'm going to sell to these customers, and I'm finding that, and then you get disrupted, and then you have to get back into that moment. Hey, honey, good to see you. Okay, what was I thinking about? Oh, dang, I don't remember. What was it? Oh, it was this, and then it was that. And then it takes you 2 or 3 minutes to get back into it. Wasted time. You wasted time getting out, you wasted time in the conversation, and you wasted time getting back in. I'm not saying that having conversations with family is bad. I'm just telling you that it affects your productivity. That's all. So, working from home can be a pain. Checking email. Shut your email off. Don't have it make those little ding sounds. I used to get a ton of notifications on my phone. I've turned almost all of them off. Just important ones now I get. Checking email is a killer. So your phone, your email. The 566 times, I just saw a TED Talk where, I don't remember who it was, said that when we are working on our computers, on average, a person does task switching 566 times a day. 566 times a day. That's a lot. And so up here at the top, I used 2 different numbers. There's one guy that says 20% task switching cost. You saw John Medina and you proved yourself that 50% is a task switching cost when you were doing the exercise. Whatever. In the next couple of slides, I use the 20% just to be conservative. But you proved that it's 50%. So my numbers are all optimistic. So look at what we've got going here. Think about 566 if it takes you 50% of the time to get back and you make that many more mistakes. Ouch. So if you are working on multiple things and you have a 20% lowball context switching time, then this is what happens. If you're working on 2 projects, you really are only giving it 80% of your attention, because this is your task switching cost. This is your wasted task switching cost. If you have 3 projects going on in your head, got 3 things going. I'm creating an email campaign. I am adding a new service to my website, and I am building an online course. 3 things. Boom. You are not providing each one of them 33% of your time. You can't. You're providing them, what is this? Looks like about 65%. They have 65% of your brain to split up. So they get like 21% each. That's not much. When you go to 4, you're down to like 50% of your time. You lose 50% capacity, 50% of your capacity, if you're trying to do 4 things at the same time in a day. Imagine how much more you could be getting done if you could get your freaking focus. Well, I've got some tips for that. And obviously you can keep going. 6 things in your head. Yeah, don't even think about it. We think we're multitasking. We think we're so good at it, but we are not. And this is optimistic. This is using the lowball 20%, right? So yeah, it could be much worse than that. So let's erase this here. Erase there. Oh, here we go. 2. If you have a team and you're working with a team, this is more often when you're in a larger company, like if you've got anywhere from 3 to 5,000 people or 10,000 people. Literally was at a company that has hundreds of thousands of workers, and I showed them this slide, right? But the same is true if there are 2 or 3 of you and you're trying to work part-time on this and part-time on something else. If I'm allocating 40% of my time to a project that we're collaborating on, and my partner is allocating 50% of their time to that, we're not saying, unless you do this, we're not saying I'm allocating Monday and Tuesday and part of, well, I would be doing like Monday and part of Tuesday would be all of the time I would allocate to it. And my friend would be allocating Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday because they're 50% allocated. No, I'll give it 2 hours here and an hour there. See, there's 8 hours here in each of these blocks. I'll give it 2 hours here, 1 hour there, 1 hour there, an hour here, 2 hours there, 1 hour here, 1 hour there, blah, 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 blah. And then my partner's giving it this and this and this and this This is how life works. If you don't have control yourself and can say, I'm going to dedicate Monday and Tuesday to this and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday to that, you get split up like this because you're trying to multitask, right? So then what happens? How much time do we get to collaborate here? Oh, sorry, there's a third person who's giving 20% of the time. So how much time do we get to collaborate? Not much. There's 2 hours in a week that we can collaborate. If I'm trying to collaborate with this top person, I have this one, this one, this one. Nope, not that one. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So this one, of course, and this one. Yeah, that's it. So even with just the 2 people at higher allocations, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours out of the entire week. That's not a lot. So what do? How do you fix that? Oh, one more thing on multitasking. If you're doing multiple projects and you're trying to interleave them, look, this is another way of viewing that. What I want you to do is try and focus on one thing at a time. Because imagine each one of these lines is a piece of work that you're doing on a different project. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 projects that we're working on, right? Because you start with this one, and this is where it starts to repeat again. Right, so there's 12 projects that we're working on. And each one of them gets a quarter of my time. Each one of them gets a quarter of my time. Imagine if I just sucked it all together and worked on just this black one. And then I worked on just this green one. And then just this green one. And sequentially went through them, focused my time down, and really focused on one thing at a time. Now you're going to think this is counterintuitive to stuff I'll say later about being iterative and incremental, but it's not. I'll explain that then. This is what that would look like. You would see all this time that's being saved because I've blocked this time here to work on one project. Now there's still a little bit of task switching cost that happens here, but it's so much less. I made these little lines to be about 20%. It varies, but they're about 20%. But this is the amount of time saved at the end. That's a huge amount of time, folks. That's like enormous. That's hours. You could fit another 1, 2, probably 2.5 projects in that time frame, if not 3. That's amazing. But hold on. That's just the saving on the last project. That's only the time savings on the coming in, crossing the finish line for that green project at the end. What you didn't notice probably is that this project that ended here when we were multitasking ended there when we were single tasking. So we were able to get stuff out to our customer really quick. I mean, look at the difference here. This is an enormous difference from here all the way out to here. That's your saved time. Not this little piddly bit down here at the end. Yeah, that's nice. But each one of these earlier tasks has a dramatically improved time savings because of this processing where you're being more focused on one thing at a time. So, how do we do that? What are some tips for productivity?
Have for you just about getting organized and getting stuff done. 1, write it down, right? So just write what you have to do down. Use OneNote, use Evernote, use Trello or something like that. I don't care how you do it. Sticky notes in a book, that's fine too. Dot journals are cool. Lots of people like to use dot journals these days. I've used just a regular old comp book. Have a comp book, just write your to-do list in it, flip the page for the next day, write the date on the top. I tend to write if this is a page, I tend to write my next actions here, and then projects here, next actions, projects, and prospects there, or people I need to call. So I'll have a whole list of tasks that I've got going, next actions that I need to take right here. And then a smaller list of projects that I'm working on. These feed this. and then a list of people I need to be talking to. These also feed this list. So do that. Maybe you like having the feel of a moleskine, I don't know how you pronounce that word, binder. I'm using those these days too. I use a kind of a combination of Evernote and my moleskine. But write it down, write stuff down, because that way it gets it out of your head and onto a trusted source. If you're anything like me, you forget things. I forget things all the time. And I need an externalization of my thinking so that I can remember everything and get everything done. I can remember about 3 things. My wife, when she sends me to the grocery store to get something, she knows that I can hold 3 things in my head at once. If I try and hold 4 or 5, I start to drop them and I worry and wonder, and I have to write them down. So she knows if she needs me to pick up 4 things, she writes it down. If it's 3, she's okay. So write it down. And I tend to do an ABC prioritization. Like A is things that the world will freaking stop if this doesn't happen today. B's are this damn well better get done at least today, tomorrow, or the next day. And C's are, this is a nice thing to get done and I'll get to it when I can. They're often also the things that I want to do, so they go farther down on the list. You can pull some up and do them when you need to, but yeah, how you manage that is entirely up to you. But that's what I do. Some people say, we move too fast these days to keep an ABC priority list. I think that's garbage. We do move really freaking fast, but if you can't divide things into A, B, C, you've got bigger problems. So that's it. I do that. But you also need to be open to adjustment and open to insertion of other things. So I may have 6 things on there that are an A priority and 3 things that are a B priority and 9 things that are a C priority. But I have to be open to, oh, crud, I got this email at lunch when I checked my email at that time, and now I've got this other priority, something's really important that has to happen today. So it bumps into the A priority list and becomes my top priority. That's okay. What you want to do, though, is recognize, you have to write it down and recognize how that is impacting everything else. If I work on this, I'm not working on that. You just need to see the impact that it has. You need to pick a time to plan, otherwise you won't. So this is a daily plan sheet. This is, I do these all the time. Sometimes I'm more consistent than others. I'm encouraging you, be consistent. When I am my most productive, I'm doing this. So if you want to be your most productive, give it a shot. But pick a time to plan. I tend to like to do it at the night before. So got my kids to bed, my wife's going to bed, and I'm prepping for the next day. I make my list because it's everything that's in my head. It helps me purge my brain. Maybe some things linger in my brain and I do mental processing over the night. I'm not a devotee of doing that, but it does happen. You wake up in the morning with a brilliant idea. Maybe you're a morning person, though, and you want to do it in your morning time. And that's perfectly fine. It's totally cool. Maybe you're just an evening person, right? Okay, so I'm going to do my list before I leave my office space and engage with my family so I can leave work at work and be at family. Totally cool. However you want to do it, but make it a discipline. Discipline is an interesting word. I've started using the word routine now because I have a negative reaction to the word disciplines are hard. Disciplines are, they're complicated and I don't like to do them. Okay, make it a routine. Make it part of your daily routine that you do this. Then it's not as hard or must happen. All right. Next, block time on your calendar for working. I block my mornings from the time my kids leave the house until noon. That time is set aside entirely for me working. I am recording this right now during that time because this is one of my top priorities for the day, recording this for you. And it gets done in that block time before noon. I'm talking with people all the time. I'm prospecting. I am talking with customers and clients. I'm doing coaching calls. All those things happen